So here we go. Huge Ford changes coming, not just for 2024, but we're talking about down the pipeline as well. So if you're watching this live, thank you so much. Give us a little shout out, say howdy in the comment section. If you're watching this as a cut up episode, well, great. This is where it all begins. We're gonna be talking about some future down the pipeline Maverick talk, Ford Ranger, F-150, both the Lightning and the petrol-powered version, the Bronco, which I love. I own an F-150 Lightning. I own a Ford Bronco. It's my third Bronco. I've owned over 70 vehicles. And I think by now, if you've been watching from when this YouTube channel first went on, you'd probably be saying, Johnny, you must have had over 80 vehicles now. I'm just not updating. I'd rather play it safe and say I've owned over 70 when I think I have crossed the 80 threshold. So let's talk about the real deal, the real changes that are going down, where you can save money, where you can't. So let's just pop up the slide here. We've got a good show planned for you all tonight. Now, let's start with the Ford Maverick. First of all, I think it's really important to talk Ford Maverick new because it's one of those rare vehicles where the used prices are still out of this world. So used prices still haven't changed, or very slightly. These vehicles are selling for, generally used, a good amount more than the original MSRP. And you can get, that's manufacturer's suggested retail price. You can get that, folks, if you order the vehicle and you follow my simple steps. Ideally, watch the whole video I did on 10 ways to not get robbed by the dealer. Just to quickly, very quickly cover the most important parts. Get your order sheet signed. They'll ask for your signature. That's worthless. Get their signature on your build sheet. Get their signature on a lease or purchase agreement, a contract, essentially. It's not the official full contract, because they're right. They can't have you sign the official full contract because all the dates would be wrong. But a purchase offer or a lease offer, they can definitely sign. Get them to sign the order sheet. Have their signature. Hold on to those sheets. Don't leave it with them. They could get lost. Bring those sheets home, folks. So that's a way to save thousands. Also, I wouldn't necessarily buy a used because generally the used prices are still high. And when it comes to the EcoBoost model, here's the first very small. This isn't really a bombshell. This is like stepping on a tack. It's good for you all to know. As dealers, many dealers will start to have available EcoBoosts because we're going to serve all the EcoBoost orders at many dealers. Not all dealers. Your area might be hungry or starved for Mavericks for another couple of years. But be willing to look on the internet, make phone calls. Come late spring, early summer 2024, you'll be able to get a Ford Maverick EcoBoost right off the lot. Now, a hybrid, there will be the occasional one, but there won't be enough for the prices to be reasonable on these. So an EcoBoost will be reasonable. We've got, I just want to say prost to everyone, the WB. Thank you so much for joining. I wish you good luck as you wait on your Corvette. Corvette prices, like many vehicles, have started coming down, but not for our Ford Maverick that we love so much. So Ford Maverick, they can be a year old. They can have, 10, 30, even 40,000 miles on it and still be at that window sticker price. So covering the changes, it's one of the reasons why covering the changes on this model is pretty important. Here's another one. These are 22s, folks. These are very shortly 2-year-old vehicles. And, that's a luxury package. Of course, it's an EcoBoost. All-wheel drive, didn't even have to look. I knew it was going to be an EcoBoost. Barely any used hybrids available. People are holding on to them because people are loving them. Contrary to so many videos that you would have seen early on, this is not a CVT transmission on the hybrid. It's an eCVT. It's a planetary gear set. It's almost identical to what you'll find on a Toyota Prius, and it is extremely reliable. Now, the 2-liter transmission, the transmission that's attached to the 2 liters, so that's 250 horsepower, 270 pound-feet of torque, or 257 horsepower, excuse me. There's been a little talk like, can the transmission handle all this power? Sarah and Tuned, which I love her show. She's fantastic, covers everything like a good, proper professional engineer. Huge thumbs up to her show. She pointed out that the transmission is maxed at its capacity, and she's not wrong. But we haven't had, this is the same transmission that you'll find on the Lincoln Corsair. It's the same transmission that you'll find on the Ford Edge, the Lincoln Nautilus. And these transmissions have been great. It's essentially the same transmission you're going to find on, but basically if Ford has a 2-liter turbo, they've got that transmission, and it has been tough. We haven't had major problems with it. We haven't even had minor problems with the transmission. Nothing's ever perfect. I won't say that of all the 2-liter turbo engines with the 10-speed transmission, that there haven't been 8-speed transmission like on the Ford Escape 2-liter as well. I'm not going to say there have been 0 incidences, because no manufacturer goes through 0 incidences. There's some breaks that will be caused, the 18-inch air, so that's the 18 inches between the steering wheel and the back of the seat, so that's driver air. There's some of that going on, but the problems, there's nothing major, there's nothing constantly reoccurring. I'm not stressed for this vehicle, but I would not buy it used. So let's go check what I would buy, and I'm sorry if I seem, if I look a little beat up. We've got not just the Ford Maverick news, we also have some family news. There's our daughter, folks. Lovely, lovely little girl. I'm a very proud daddy now as of officially 2 weeks. So she's 2 weeks old as of today. And here, this was the morning of, and we have a very healthy little girl. We're very blessed. We also feel blessed that we had a Ford Maverick. So let's get back to this Ford Maverick talk. So yeah, we feel blessed that we had a Ford Maverick. We bought one. I think it should be the #1 truck. Kelley Blue Book listed the Ford F-150 Lightning as the #1 truck of the year 2 years in a row. And I don't agree. I own a Lightning, and I'd say that thank you very much, Richman and Orlando OBX. Rushman, thank you very much. Very kind of you guys. I think that when it comes down to it, the Maverick is a much better deal. Now, this as a used vehicle, we sold it because we wanted more space for the baby. That kind of took us off guard. We waited about 20 months for our Maverick. We weren't pregnant 20 months ago. We didn't think this was going to happen. Then we got the Ford Maverick. It's a little tight when it comes to a baby seat. I've got a really bad back. That's been an issue since '08, an old injury. I can't be bending down to place the baby. I need to have everything at chest height. So with that, we sold it, and we actually made money. So big changes for the Ford Maverick. Now, when you really want to get things right, always refer to the order guide. You type in Ford order guide. Of course, I have access directly with Ford, but for these shows, I always pull them off when they've been leaked by another journalist. And that's where I get my order guides that I show you all. But let's go check a good source. You always want to cross-reference, because there's great sources, there's not so great sources. Now, Motor Trend, that's a source you can trust, that I've trusted since I've been reading car magazines, must be since I was about 9 years old, 10 years old. Prost, folks. I hope you're enjoying the show and enjoying a cool beverage, whether it's water or whatever it may be. Just headed out to the distillery, Cherry River Distillery, last night, and it was fantastic. So here we've got Motor Trend showing us some nice photos. Now, of course, the Build and Price website with Ford. So Google Ford, buildandprice.ca if you're in Canada.com if you're in the States. But even that website makes mistakes. As we saw in last week's live with the F-150, you got to have an order guide on hand, because that is something that's never wrong. So let's talk about what Motor Trend thinks of this truck. I think it should be truck of the year. We sold it for more than what we bought it for. So the hybrid, yes, it was very efficient. We were getting high 40 miles per gallon. Of course, we're in liters per 100 kilometers, so we're playing right in the 5 5 to 5.8 liters per 100 kilometers, depending on the weather. Colder weather, less efficient battery gives off less power and autonomy. So it is a very efficient hybrid. It's a fantastic transmission. It's got a powerful turbo 4-cylinder. Yes, the 2-liter is a hoot to blast. And I can tell you from owning and playing around with this thing, it is fun in the bendies. Sling Bart, thank you very much. Very, very kind. So, and I'm surprised Motor Trend would name the Colorado Truck of the Year. I'm appreciating the new style and whatnot, but Colorados have had a bit of issues with their infotainment systems, causing the vehicle to just shut down when you're on the way back. You know, I watch a lot of different YouTube channels. Pickup Truck and SUV with Tim Esterdale is one. His brother had issues with his Colorado. TFL has had issues with their Colorado as well, just shutting down, not functioning because of that infotainment system. It's far too common of a problem to name it Truck of the Year unless we don't care about problems, unless we don't care about losing our hair because of issues going on in the front yard. So we've got an efficient, powerful Turbo 4, clever packaging, as they say, and I think that has to do with the interior being attractive, well-designed, but generally cheap recycled plastic. Cons, they're talking about the Santa Cruz towing more and how it has better payload. Well, the Santa Cruz only has better payload if you can count in-cabin payload, because they've said before 600 pounds in the bed, and at Ford you can put 1,500 pounds in the bed. So my decision is clear. I tried out the Hyundai Santa Cruz, and their safety tech bothered me more than the safety Blue Cruise tech that I'm having issues with in my Lightning. We'll get to that later, but I'm having some issues. Marie had some issues. Safety, not impressed when it comes to safety. Blue Cruise is supposed to be about making things safer, and version 1.3 works fantastically. But my version 1, I guess, needs an upgrade badly. Ford needs to be a little quicker about these upgrades, but not as quick as GM, because GM does so many upgrades at once that it seems to crash the system, burn out computers, and have the vehicles not start. So no, you need to find that happy mix between serving your customers quickly and also serving them efficiently. Now, changes for the Maverick, a lot of it is similar. What the big bombshell I've got for you is you might want to wait for 2025. Why? Because I highly, highly suspect, this is a very educated, speculative guess. It's a guesstimate, but I'm rarely wrong when it comes to the Maverick. I'm expecting at some point in 2025 that they will at least announce the all-wheel drive hybrid, not a plug-in, standard all-wheel drive, and that falls in with Ford's tradition. Ford's tradition is, we've seen it with the Escape, we've seen it with basically all the models as they brought them towards electrification. Doesn't mean that even once a vehicle's electrified, like the F-150, they don't just cut out the petrol. But it has been standard to come out with the all-wheel drive, first a hybrid front-wheel drive, and or at the same time or a little bit later, an all-wheel drive hybrid. Then they move towards, of course, the coveted all-wheel drive hybrid. I'm a huge fan of plug-ins. I think that's the best option. I think that's the future. Less battery pollution, less, you can make so many more instead of having one electric vehicle like the F-150 with 131 kilowatts. Well, the Ford Maverick has a 1.1 kilowatt. So that's like what, 110 Mavericks that you can make with the batteries that you put in one Lightning. And we'll be talking about long-term reliability on these vehicles, because I have a little Tesla story about a Tesla that made 1.2 million miles, but it's had several engines replaced and 4 batteries. So we'll get to that. But for now, let's wrap it up on the Ford Maverick. So the big change, the big bombshell is that an all-wheel drive hybrid, I can say I'm 98% certain that is going to be for 2025. I'm 100% certain it's coming. It'll be at least announced in 2025. Will we get it as part of our 2025 ordering guide? Can we order it and receive a 2025 hybrid? Or will it be announced in 2025 and we end up getting a 2026 all-wheel drive hybrid? That is to see, that we'll wait and see. For now, we can say the Maverick changes for 2024. The hybrid is no longer a standard, so you're paying more for it. You've got your 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with the 8-speed transmission as the standard engine across the line. Remember, the Tremor is still around for the Maverick, being cut out for the Ford Ranger. We'll get to that for that episode, but it's still around for the Ford Maverick, and it's fantastic. You get a more aggressive differential gear in the back. You get a higher tech, better gripping off-road rear end. So that's fantastic. I love the Tremor option. I'm almost thinking of switching my Lightning for a Maverick Tremor, but we'll have to see what happens. Now, a minor change is that we have the 400-watt inverter as a standalone option. And you've got the XLT Luxury and Lariat package. Sorry, the 400-watt inverter is no longer a standalone option. It bundles into the luxury packages that are only available for XLT and Luxury, not the XL. You've got some color choices that are just being played around with. You can see that with the Ford Build and Price website. Now, for the 2024, the styling has remained the same, so don't expect any changes when it comes to styling. You'll have some minor changes when it comes to the mid-model refresh, and then the big change, probably 2030, right around, we'll have a major overhaul of the vehicle. That's where you'll see major changes. The platform will change, the styling will completely change, but we'll have a minor visual change somewhere between 2026 and 2030. And I'm sorry, I'm thinking 2030 for the Bronco. So I'm hoping one of our long-term viewers for the Maverick can remember what I've covered months ago, because months ago I did cover the year we should be getting an overhaul for the Maverick, but usually a platform change occurs every 5 to 8 years. So 5 years minimum, it's as fast as you'll have a major overhaul, meaning if it does happen on the 5-year, you usually get some changes on the 3rd year, minor visual changes. If they stretch it out to 8 years, then you'll normally get that usually on about the 4th or the 5th year, those minor changes to kind of keep sales up, keep excitement up. But they could stretch this one out because sales are up, excitement is up. This is a fantastic truck. Now, other minor changes is that you have the XLT models. They have the modular hard drop-in bed liner, part of the luxury package. So year to year, they remove it, they add it back in. That's why we need to stay up to date with our Ford order guide, because when they make these minor changes back and forth, the Build and Price website sometimes can be a couple months behind. It can miss this change that you'll find on the order guide. Now, the big change, many small changes, I'll say, kind of makes it feel like one big change for the Lariat, is that the Lariat luxury package, of course, with the spray and bed liner, that's how you'll get your black painted mirror caps. It's also how you'll get your wireless phone charger, but many people in our Ford Maverick community here at Johnny's Car Care and Reviews have a little hack for you. You can buy an aftermarket adapter to get to plug in to the vehicle to get the vehicle to be wireless. So hopefully someone in the comments section will drop that off. If not, you can research it on Maverick Truck Club. And of course, the Ford Copilot 360 with active driver assistance features, such as Ford Copilot 360 Assist. There's now the Assist package, but the luxury package comes standard with the Copilot 360. So that is great if you're looking for those safety features. Now, for the Tremor package, almost no one ordered and paid the extra amount for the appearance package, which I originally had said, think about before you spend that money, think about it. You're paying for stickers. So now the Tremor, its minor change is that the off-road oriented trim comes with the hood and door decals, and you can choose to delete them. So important, if you're ordering a Ford Maverick Tremor and you don't want to have those decals, you need to make sure your order has it deleted, because if nothing is written, it means it's going to come with the hood sticker and the side stickers. If you don't like those stickers, let's say you're someone that likes to go the old-fashioned way and wax your vehicle yourself with a paste wax. Well, those stickers are going to be a pain in the rear end. You're not going to want them there. unless you're paying someone to wax your vehicle, or you watch one of my videos, my how-to videos for using ceramic spray-on detailers. That's the spray-on ceramic detailer. They're so easy to use, and if you get the right product, one of the products I use, you won't have any issues with the stickers. Heck, you can put it on the stickers, you can put it on the plastic. Life will be simple. However, I've bought so many products over the year that on the, which vehicle was it? One of the vehicles, the Bronco, the new green Bronco, I took the wrong wax. I did not take a ceramic spray-on detailer. I took a ceramic wax hybrid, so it's like a traditional matte wax with some ceramic detailer, if I recall correctly. And anyways, all my plastics went white, my stickers went white, and I had one heck of a time getting them out. I had to use a white eraser and erase away the white lines. Now, those are your big changes for the Ford Maverick. I think it's a fantastic value. Prices, you know, we can look up prices in another video. We can do another build and price for the 2024. But just quickly, so we view those really quick. 2024 Ford Maverick build and price. If you're following along with what's going on the TV, I'm showing you how to make sure you get the right price, because some dealers, they're not going to tell you that they've slid in some file processing fees, some administration fees, some dealer fees. How do you know if they're there? You have to do a little work on your own. Remember, don't put off what you can do today for tomorrow. So before you shop your vehicle, shop it online. And I think there's a huge benefit to getting into a good dealership with a good sales individual. They can make you think of things you hadn't thought of, ask you questions that make you reflect, and sometimes people end up with a very different vehicle, either much less equipment than they thought they needed or more equipment based on the questions they get asked. I often hear people who've shopped, and they're cross-shopping between a Tesla and a Mach-E. The only reason they don't buy the Tesla is because of the horrible experience of just being thrown keys and say, go look online. There's definitely a benefit. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Ford Maverick. I'll let you know if that ever changes. But now the price increases that we've had isn't anything that's going to scare me away and completely change my mind about the Ford Maverick. So these are the prices you should be paying your Ford Maverick. If you go with the XL and you're wondering, if maybe you're thinking, it can't possibly be enough equipment for me. Ford Order Guide 2024 Ford Maverick. You get that order guide, your dealership. You could be at the dealership and ask them to print off. Generally, it's the first few pages that you need. But you'll want to look at the standard equipment on the XL, the XLT, and the Lariat. It's one page. You read through it and you'll know if you're on the vehicle that's the right fit for you. I'm telling you, folks, I save on a regular basis. I save a lot of people thousands of dollars because they're like, I need a Lariat. And we talk and they actually are very happy with an XLT. So you might not come across someone at a dealership who wants to get you into the right fitting vehicle, but I see this like a pair of shoes that you're going to wear anywhere from 1 year for the next 20 years. I think it's so important to get into the right pair of shoes to avoid deformed toes, and in the case of a vehicle, some great miscomfort. And it's just about doing the right thing, being ethical, treating people like family, treating people how I would want to be treated. I think that's a good way to go through life in all our interactions with other humans, in hopes that that treatment comes back to us. So an XL starts at $23,400. Now, I sometimes get thrown off by the website. I'll go, view details, for example. You read the little comment section, that's great. But what you'll really want to do is, when you start your build, no, I don't have Marie here. She's sleeping with the baby on the couch. Actually, just as the show was starting, she was getting into feeding. But you can go through and hit these little I buttons at any point and get full out information. Very, very helpful. The big one, you click on XL here. And once you click on the XL information button, then this is huge. This pops down. And what this is power and handling, interior features, exterior features, safety, Copilot 360. You click on power and handling, for example, And you've got it all there. You have a variable assist power steering. If you don't know what that is, Google it. By the way, it's fantastic. Variable assist power steering used to be the type of thing that was reserved for high-end vehicles, really high-end vehicles, 20 years ago, 20 years ago. So essentially, it's like an electric steering wheel. So your ratios can be modified based on your speed. So basically it's easier to turn in a parking lot, but not oversensitive at high speed. So fantastic. You can go through the whole list, see exactly what's on that XL. Maybe that's the right fit for you and you save thousands of dollars. So let's not assume, because we know what happens when we assume things. You make an arse of you and me. So you need to just go through. There have been some color slashes on the Maverick when it comes to the XL. But you can see them all right there. Pick the color that works for you before going into the dealership. That way you can focus your time and energy on the road test and making sure you get the right price. Now, again, the big bombshell, I highly suspect educated speculation, 2025 minimum condition getting announced, the all-wheel drive hybrid, but very possibly being able to order it. When the order guide for the 2025 does come out, it will be under on page 1 under changes. So we've covered the show for the Ford Maverick. If you're watching this as a mini episode or a live, either way, please hit the thumbs up button. Share this information with anyone that you know that could benefit from an affordable truck that's going to save them thousands compared to all the other trucks. This is also a lot less expensive than a Hyundai Santa Cruz. It's way less expensive than a Honda Ridgeline. It's more fuel efficient than all those vehicles. Folks, it is the best truck you can buy. You got an XL at $23,400. Of course, they've got the shipping and handling, you could say, the transportation, destination charges. So that price goes up once you hit the calculator. You go into the build and price, you click here, you go into the build and price, you hit the calculator at the top, and it'll actually show you the real price. You've got the XLT starting at $26,315, and you have the Lariat at $34,855. I think the sweet spot, the best possible vehicle here is the right here, the XLT. And if you're doing a lot of hot city driving, buy the hybrid. Wait the 8 to 12 months to get your hybrid. Wait times are going to be less at most dealerships than they were. Maddie had 20 months to get hers. Many of you are going to be waiting only 6 to 12 months. Some of you are going to wait a year and a half. 2-liter EcoBoost, little secret at dealerships that don't have much of a waiting list like mine, 4 months. 4 months, max 5, you've got an EcoBoost unless you're unlucky. Of course, it's crazy. Sometimes some get built within a month, but then get stuck at one of the destination transportation hubs for 2 months. That has happened to me on a Maverick. It's happened to me on several Super Duties. It hurts. It's always, of course, the dealership's fault. Always the sales guy's fault. But hey, that's what we're here for. Now, let's say we click on start your build. I personally would be taking a Tremor. I think that is such a sweet truck. I would probably take it avalanche color, not cactus gray. I've seen it too much, but we've got terrain, and that's right, a change. Do they still have avalanche? Is it gone? Yeah, so I'd go terrain. It's just a little darker. Orlando OBX, congratulations for getting yours scheduled. Thank you for keeping us updated for your Bronco. Now, you got the EcoBoost. I'd throw on, advanced four-wheel drive. Very cool. We'll talk about that when it comes to the Bronco talk tonight. You see, Ford's website is honest. They're saying if you add Tremor, you're going to be taking Ford Copilot 360 package, and that's why the price is going to go up $6,365. So let's not get fooled. We saw advanced four-wheel drive, and you're like, oh, $2,220. I'll take that deal. Well, at least the site's honest. It's like, actually, if you take that, that means you have to go Tremor. Tremor costs X amount of dollars. You click the little information button, and it'll tell you what the Tremor is and everything that it's adding. If we waited for it to load, it should tell us the added price for just that option as well, or you can find it on the list. But at any time, you can click, basically, just so that you know. My personal build would be, yes, I'd take advanced all-wheel drive. I want a Tremor. At any time, you can hit the calculator at the top, and you hit that calculator. First of all, let's just point out how good the Tremor here looks. That is a good looking truck, folks. 1,500 pounds in the bed. Total payload 1,500 pounds, but then Ford goes on to say 1,500 pounds allowable in the bed. So I'd love a little more clarification about that, because the driver weighs something, and with legal payload, you always count your driver as well. Arcubo, thank you so much for making it to the show. Howdy ho, 4 high, 4 low. Thanks for making it to the show. You're making it in time for Bronco and Ford Ranger talk. So at any time, you hit that little calculator, and you've got finance. You hit the finance button and you see the real price. So here we can see that we've got a base MSRP, $26,315. We added $6,365 in options, destination charges, $1,500, estimated selling price, $34,275. So they talk about a down payment. You can remove it at any time so you don't get mixed up. You see that $30,000 down there and you get to the dealership, you're super mad. You think they're ripping you off. Maybe they're actually giving you the good price. That's why you got to look through the build and price website before getting too upset. But you can see that, I'd finance this 72 months because this vehicle will unbelievably hold its value well. It's hard to believe how well this holds its value. And Peugeot, no rants tonight. I diluted the drink this evening. So we have a little Havana on ice, a little diluted, mostly because I'm thirsty and I've had like a sore throat for over a month now. The daughter's coughing. It's probably my fault. She's sneezing. It's clearly my fault. You can also consider a lease, but we'll talk about the differences between leases and purchases in another video. Simply put, if you're going to keep the vehicle for a shorter period of time, I always find it easier to swap out of a lease. So that's your Ford Maverick news. Please hit that share button, share it with people that need to know about saving money, because saving money these days is so unbelievably important. Things are tough. Things are also a little ridiculous these days. So in between episodes, before we start episode 2, it's time for a little rant. But just to wrap up the episode, please share, subscribe, hit that bell notification. This is a small family business. Help us out, folks. So quick. Last week, I know I had a pretty ridiculously long rant, but quick